Simon, your pot noodles ready.
Fortunately, I'll give a lot of money to Tesco's. The subject of this one is sorry, thank you. This one's about faith, because I feel like the kind of a lot of the views and the viewpoints that are discussed about faith in the media and in the public forum are pretty messed up. So before I begin, if I can have by way of a cheer, if anybody considers himself a person of faith, okay. So maybe I'll ask the opposite question: does anybody not have faith in anything at all? Cool. Right.
Trust no one.
Yeah, there we go. That's one angle. This is called have faith, and if this is for anybody who has faith in anything. So you have faith is this next one's title. But say faith to most people and they think religion, or maybe George Michael. But I think these ideas about faith are stifled, need to be recycled, because the way that I feel it's way too big a deal to be left kept to churchgoers, Bible readers, Quran readers, Hebrew speakers, believers in any particular doctrine or philosophy. Faith is the property of every single one of us. And only bad things can come of us if we lose track of it. Some people attack it and scold it, and those who hold it accuse them of being ridicule them as ignorant, stupid or blind, but it's when you can't trust in anything that you really start to lose your mind. And maybe then you'll find that we spend more time running on faith than you first might have thought, like when two different newspapers report from the same faraway event from vastly conflicting angles. The truth gets tangled. It's left for you to unravel, and you can't exactly travel the other side of the world and see yourself in first person. So you take a step back, consider the facts, decide which one is more deserving of your trust. Because if we're to ever learn anything, having faith in someone else is a must. And a thing can only be truth if it's backed by facts, but sometimes the bigger picture goes a little deeper than that. See, there's science to prove marijuana can be highly detrimental, and there's science to prove its huge healing potential. But who decides which voices you get to hear, and who's interested to spread information, and who's it to spread fear? And there's quite a few ways the truth trade and the drug trade are related. Sometimes the product comes pure, sometimes it comes adulterated. When you choose correctly, both of them can get you high, and dealing in either will land you in jail, because people will fight tooth and nail to control the supply. But more than anything, before you can do business in either, you absolutely positively have to trust the dealer. And trust isn't just something we give out subconsciously, it's something we expect from other people constantly. When you apply for a job, you're depending on them to trust you. When you tell a friend you're sorry, you're depending on them to trust you. And when you call work to phone in sick, it doesn't even matter if it's phony or legit, because either way you're depending on them to trust you. How many times when you and a new romantic interest meet, do you feel you have to compete for their trust? With all the people who've done them unjust before you, and all you want to say is, I implore you, please don't make me do time for crimes perpetrated on you by others in the past. A little of your trust is all I ask. And faith is the difference between being the adult driving the car, needing to know how far you are from the next petrol station, how far that is to your destination, because the fuel level's getting kind of low and you need to know certainties, figures and facts, directions and maps, and being the child riding in the back. In the kind of deep sleep that only being at complete peace will allow, because he knows he's going to get there and doesn't need to know how. And when we're born, our sense of trust is absolute, but quickly starts to dilute, and sooner or later we get lied to, tricked, betrayed, misled. We find out something in the way someone said, and when we reach that stage, it's a coming of age. It's a birth and a death that day, because a questioning mind is born unto us, but our unblemished trust is a price we must pay. But it's also a choice. It's a fork in the road. Some met their faith and road like a cliff face in a storm, worn away day by day. Every time they've done wrong, until what once was strong crumbles and falls into the depths. But that's a fate I just won't accept. So when faced with that fork, I choose to walk in the opposite direction, to use my faith any less, just with more discretion, because scars heal quicker when you turn them into lessons. And I have absolute faith that faith can set you free, because everything I have is from people having faith in me. I wouldn't have gigs if it weren't for the faith of promoters. And even then it would be hopeless if people like you didn't have the faith to come out and listen for the evening. This is about more than just what you believe in, it's about what believes in you. And if you doubt it, tell me, how could anyone live without it? You couldn't visit a doctor or take medicine if you found yourself in pain. You couldn't get on a plane, a bus or a train. Couldn't get a loan. Couldn't take your eyes off your keys, wallet and phone. You wouldn't even leave the home. You just stay indoors, incapacitated and incarcerated, because cynicism is a prison from which faith can get you liberated. But nowadays faith is so often berated because of those who take it and try to manipulate it to serve their own agendas and try and restrict its use to their own members. But these kind of types, you do well to remember that without faith, all of life would fall apart, and faith didn't start with prophets, priests and disciples. It's one of our most primal tools for survival, and it's vital if we're ever to grow. And I know there's some opinions out there that are stuck so fast it feels like there's no chance of them moving, because they only believe in that which can be proven. But really, I'm fine with people who take that line. I understand that theory, but it just leaves me with one query. What do you think is more tragic, to believe a lie or to disbelieve a truth? Because some of the most important decisions in life you have to make before you get the proof. And some folks go out of their way to let you know they're people of faith, and some make it very clear that they're not. But I think we all got faith in something, and all that separates us is what? Thank you very much.